name's Steve Mera. I'm a parapsychologist. I've been doing this work in this type of field for about 33 years now, coming on to 34 in April. My first investigation was 1983 in Liverpool, so it's been some time. Generally, most of the paranormal investigations, I have done UFO investigations. I started off in the field of UFO phenomena, moved into the paranormal and parapsychological circles as time's gone on. I investigated over probably about 8,000 different cases in 33 years. That's quite a handful, and not just from the UK but all over the world. Being a parapsychologist, you have to do a lot. It's not an easy job. I mean, I started off in engineering. I was an electrical engineer, and then I went to NATO, worked as a telecommunications officer, and then I got into this as well. And this has probably been the hardest job, believe it or not. What it entails is very long hours. Sometimes the investigations can go through, well, it can be up to 2 weeks sometimes on location, and they're 19 hours, 20 hours a day, so you're getting absolutely no sleep. I mean, last time I came back from an overseas investigation, I was actually suffering from sleep deprivation, simply because I just had not much sleep at all, 3-4 hours a day at most. So that can be very tiring. A lot of travelling around the world. Yeah, it's great to see the other countries. It's very mundane travelling on an aircraft. You think it's not long 8-9 hours or 10-hour flights or 13-hour flights, but yes, they are when you keep doing them. They just drain you. But it's good fun. Probably the most significant, unusual investigation I've conducted was one back in 1996, when I was working corporately for companies and confidential cases. I was contacted by Rochdale City Council in regards to some tenants that were reporting to them some paranormal disturbances, and they'd been in Rochdale City Council trying to find out exactly what was going on. Countless times couldn't conclude exactly what was going on, so they wanted some assistance. So they came to us to see if we, as our clients, we would try and find out for them, write a report on our conclusion. Is paranormal phenomena taking place in this building or not? So we conducted quite a lengthy investigation, and I was surprised to find that it wasn't a haunting, it wasn't a misidentification. Things were actually going on there. It wasn't a haunting, it was a poltergeist infestation. Now, they're extremely rare poltergeist disturbances. I mean, we see things up all the time on the internet and things, but I'd say 99.9% of them are dodgy. I mean, I know from being in the field for 33 years, after doing only 5 poltergeist cases in that time, that is an extremely rare phenomenon, much rarer than hauntings. And they were reporting outpourings of water, and I said, well, what do you mean outpourings of water? They thought, well, water was coming down from the ceiling and the walls and the doors, and things were getting wet. And I thought, well, there's got to be a rational explanation. There's got to be something, a leaky pipe, something, to constitute this water. And of course I went in there, and boy was I wrong. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it. The only way to describe it was, if you get half a glass of water and you throw it across your kitchen floor, and it arcs out, that is what I was seeing on the ceiling. And it was moving intelligently. It arced around a light fitting. It was moving across the ceiling. It wasn't dripping down to the ground. But then on other occasions, it suddenly disappeared. Mr. Gardner, who was one of the guys that lived there, he shouted out and went into the kitchen, and it was absolutely throwing it down. I mean, I'm not talking a little bit of water here. I'm talking the whole kitchen ceiling dropping down with water. I mean, heavy droplets. I mean, I'll never forget that thought in my mind when looking down at me, because he was going to make me a cup of tea. He just put the milk in my cup of tea. I could just watch my cup, and the milk was jumping out of the cup because the droplets were hitting. And something caught my eye, and I thought I was seeing things at first, but just occasionally, the odd droplet would go up and meet the water on the ceiling. I thought, oh my, I've never seen anything like this before in my life. I've never have done since. And I didn't know what to make of it, to be honest. We got some samples of the water. Turned out it wasn't tap water. The conductivity in it is measured in UCSMs was ridiculously high. Something got to be to do with the paranormal and the natural electrical phenomena side of it, maybe. The disturbances continued, and to a point where I got thumped in the back. About 4 feet I went across this room, but I was a big guy, and it takes a lot to move me 4 feet across the room. But what was interesting is, not only did I get a thump, and it was a physical thump, because it scared the hell out of me, to be honest with you. You know, and it blooming hurt as well. And I had a big bruise like this for about 5 weeks. And I was contemplating actually at that time when I got thumped, just leaving the subject. To be honest with you, you know, it did bother me. But I kind of went back in there, a loose face. And of course, I realised that, quite quickly that it was like an electric shock. Because when you've had I've been an engineer, so when you have an electric shock, occasionally, you get thrown, repelled from it. And that was the same feeling of getting an electric shock and a thump at the same time. We had to relocate the family through Rochdale City Council to another home. The disturbances carried on there for about 2 weeks until they diminished. I asked the Rochdale Council to leave the house fallow. That basically means nobody in there, no human agencies in there for about a year. Completely void of electricity in there to decrease the phenomena. Apparently after about 12 months they re-rented it and the family went in there, we did a survey, did a check, everything was fine with them, thank God. But what we had was the disturbances of things moving around, unusual audible disturbances, all sorts, everything that you might consider as a poltergeist infestation. Rare, quite alarming, but quite surreal. Most interesting paranormal case I've heard of or read about, I mean there are so many, I've read so many different books and heard different stories, for me are the ones that have an amount of evidence behind them, and it'd have to be the skull experiments for me. Now this was a location, a small town of Skull, where experiments were carried out in a cellar with a number of mediums, and under these scientific conditions, the experiments shown that manifestations take place, light anomalies, spiritual contact, quite a number of photographs, physical phenomena took place, manifestations that took place, which were well documented. And actually, the Society of Psychical Research, I believe, may still actually have those physical, manifestations, which are still around. And it was an absolutely incredible work that was carried out, which kind of led us into the Phenomena Project, continuing that work from the skull experiment. That's probably for me because I'm always interested in the ones that have a lot of evidence. I mean, I could reel off thousands of cases. The Smurl case from Pennsylvania, the Enfield poltergeist case, or the Enfield haunting, or whatever people want to refer it to. There are lots. I mean, there's a lot of dodgy ones out there, like the Amityville one as well. That's a very dodgy one. But there are lots of interesting ones as equally as there are dodgy. I've been involved in quite a lot of UFO cases. Don't tend to do so many now. I mean, I still get reports come through and I'll pass them out to investigators if necessary around the country. But I have done quite a lot. They were mostly UFO sightings. Occasionally some people have profound experiences. There was the Linda Jones case in Disbury, and she was, in 1977, she was walking with her daughter and her son down a bank in Disbury, down the river Mersey, and some object, she thought it was a plane coming down, just suddenly swooped down upon them. It was definitely no plane. They all panicked, to be honest, but there was some missing talents involved and quite a thorough investigation that took place, and some odd characters that were thrown into the equation in regarding questioning Linda about her missing time and her experiences, and that she may have been suffering from radiation, poisoning of some sort, effects to the physical body. It was just a profound, absolutely profound case. I don't know what to make of that, to be honest. I don't believe that we've got aliens coming from other planets. I don't think that might be the case. It could be something that we're misinterpreting here. I mean, let's not get confused between a UFO and alien abduction. That's a completely different thing. Not many cases go hand in hand like that. But for me, that one was the most significant case that I was involved with. I was also in 1998 a very large case that took place in Stretford, where police officers, 3 police officers, reported 2 triangular objects hovering in the sky over Trafford Park. And then they moved over towards Salford Quays, Carrington, and on towards Earlham and out of sight. And the radio show went mad with it, and they were told to cool it. And I don't know who these guys were. but two agents turned up to pretty much scare off the police officers for continuing working with us on this case. There are a lot of similarities between paranormal and UFOs, and a lot of people don't like to get into that so much. I mean, a lot of organisations just deal with the nuts and bolts UFO phenomena, but it's not a nuts and bolts phenomena. You know, as we quite well know, that UFOs seem to materialise and dematerialise as if they're not solid in some cases. I think there's more evidence to point them towards some type of interdimensional craft, as opposed to extraterrestrial. That's the general idea now. But let's not get mistaken. A lot of the things that are flying around in the sky are definitely military. Just because they might look circular and this, that, the biggest secret is the technology that we have. I know that from working many years ago with certain things which is still not in the public domain. You know, so I know that yes, they can keep secrets. It's not hard. And yes, the technological advancement is amazing. A lot of things that people are seeing are ours. And we do have amazing capabilities. But there is something else that's invading our skies and has been for a long time. In fact, I don't think it's a phenomenon that's come here. I think it's always been here. I think we're the new kids on the block. I think the UFO phenomenon has probably been here for as long as we have. You know, I don't know if it's some type of experiment or the whole planet's a zoo or whatever, you know, or we're kind of in a petri dish. You know, I just really don't know. But a lot of people asking these questions. For me, the most significant UFO case, definitely in the UK, is the Rendlesham Forest incident. You know, it took place in 1980. I'm good friends with Larry Warren and a number of other people that were actual witnesses to the event that took place there, the UFOs, and of course there was a huge investigation that took place, official documentation showing that the event pretty much took place. It was very profound. Of course there was, you know, you have the American ones, the Roswell incident and the Aztec incident and all these other things, and they're all very, very fascinating. There are thousands of UFO incidents over the years throughout different countries. But for the UK, I would say it's the Rendlesham Forest incident, just simply because of the huge overwhelming amount of evidence. Investigations that we conduct, we do work with the police on occasion. We didn't work with them. We've not worked with them this year, but we have worked in regards the paranormal phenomena, the UFO phenomena, and even the sighting of big cats. Believe it or not. And some of those cases are still confidential, so I don't go into too much, but we have been involved in large cat paw print and hair analysis, and yes, it's real, that does happen, and not too far away, believe it or not from here anyway. UFO incidents, yeah, they've been reported to the police, and we've been involved in cases like that. Paranormal, yeah, sometimes people don't know who to report things to, sometimes they're even reporting to police officers, believe it or not. You know, so we've been involved in cases, in some very high profile cases. We were involved in CID in London, and we got an extremely high profile case which I can't mention, but it was very well known worldwide, and because information was obtained about a particular case which wasn't released to the general public, that information, then it was obviously wanted to know, well, did that person get that information? And apparently this person was obtaining it, you could say, in a psychical way, as a form of medium, but she was spot on, and that information wasn't released to the public, so she knew stuff that shouldn't have done, and of course it caused a bit of a stir, so they asked our involvement. But yeah, we do that occasionally. We do work with the police and CID and crime unit authorities. If you want to learn about paranormal phenomena and UFO phenomena, supernatural and all those sort of things, we do provide courses on that, and they can obtain that from zoharstargate.com, where we've got a database, a university, and all the information that you probably want there to obtain courses, which are easy to get hold of, and they are the most comprehensive. So there's nothing much that we don't include. Sometimes it's people want to form their own organisations. We can help and assist with that, depending on where they are. That's easily done, and we can provide protocols and guidelines. And if people want to obtain a magazine, they can do. The Phenomena magazine is available every month as a free download, as well as all the back issues, and we're on issue 86 now, been going for quite a number of years. You can obtain that from www.phenomenamagazine.co.uk. And they have advertisements in there about conferences. If you want to go to conferences, we are the biggest sponsors of events and conferences on the subject in the country. And we're also doing it internationally as well now. So people can find out in the magazine what type of events are on throughout the country, and go there and visit them and learn a little bit more. And of course, this Phenomena Project TV. The Phenomena Project TV series is It consists of, the first season consists of about 5 episodes. We're actually into the second season now, which is international. We've just finished, finished conducting our largest investigation that we've ever conducted in Seattle, in Bothell. And it was probably the most controversial paranormal case in America, which we've just finished with. And we had some incredible, absolutely incredible things take place, and some amazing evidence that we got. And the good thing is that we managed to capture it and put it straight out as it is. The good thing about the show, it's not for entertainment purposes. It's not a Ghostbusters show. You know, it's about science. It's about the real side of paranormal phenomena and the real evidence and getting it out there. And it's quite phenomenal what we've managed to achieve. It's got a lot of interest worldwide at the moment. We can find out about MAPIT, which is Manchester's Association of Paranormal Investigation and Training. Don't say that when you had a mouthful. It's difficult to get it all out. But it's a Manchester-based organisation. It investigates UFOs and paranormal. It's been going since 1974. Get that details up from the MAPIT website, or you can just type in MAPIT in Google and find it. But it's mapit.kk5.org. And finally, the Scientific Establishment of Parapsychology. For those people that are interested in more the science side of things, the parapsychological stuff. And you can obtain information about that by just simply getting in touch with me. Just Google me, Steve Mera. All the details will be up there. And probably the most significant and final thing, just to finish on, is the Stellar Database, which is a new revolutionary website which is appearing next week for the very first time, which is going to bring all the subject all into one location. Everything that you possibly will ever want to know, all in one location. It's a bit like an internet movie database, I suppose, for the subject. You know, so that's going to be certainly interesting.